After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Altitude 30,000 feet.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cav okay.
Good. We've got high visibility.
Put out that cigar. Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector. Put on your mask. Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
Approaching release point.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Depressurization complete.
Checking oxygen supply.
6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch.
Sunrise.
External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay. All green.
Prepare for drop-off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spread your wings
And fly. God be with you.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the Virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
No, the Virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB 754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin into orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story, so why'd he want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the west. We used a mole to get the family out first and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba, and so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No. According to our intelligence, he's in Selinoyarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us. Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino Yask in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the West. If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking. Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov, stand by at the recovery point. A recovery balloon will be dropped at that point. Helium will be pumped into the balloon to inflate it. The process takes about 20 minutes. Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proven.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
The shock will be less than during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat talent?
She's equipped with two 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as two 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong, you'll be eating dinner, breakfast, and all the rest of your meals in the jungle. Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
Well, you've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training.
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No. There's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button. I'll be monitoring your progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack. I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun?
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger-happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
Solo covert actions are standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily waste. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident. You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be no rescue if you're captured. The military and US government will deny any involvement in the affair.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She?
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
She's also in charge of recording your mission data. Whenever you want to save, send a message over the reserved save frequency, 140.96.
So saving lets me record my mission data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
Good to know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake.
Huh?
Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
The boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Jack, is that you? How many years has it been?
Boss?
That's right. It's me. Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top-secret mission. You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top-secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You are a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means devoting yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if necessary.
The president and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time, and so do the leaders of a country. So there's no such thing as an enemy in absolute terms. The enemies we fight are only enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your code name is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit, a group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes?
It's good to hear your voice again.
Same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC? Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the Major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Commencing Virtuous mission now.
I see you've got yourself a Baltic hornet's nest. Baltic hornets are a variety of hornets that inhabit that area. The difference between them and other hornets is that they produce honey in their nests. Inside the nests are larvae, pupa, and adults. You can eat them all. In particular, the honey you find inside the nest is delicious and full of nutrients. It's easy to digest and helps pep you up when you're feeling tired. In short, it's the perfect survival food. Honey can also be used as a burn ointment. When honey is applied to a burn, it creates a protective coating over the skin. When you knock down a hornet's nest, a burn ointment will appear along with it, so don't forget to pick it up. Of course, the hornets aren't going to give up their nest without a fight. If you knock a nest down, a large swarm of hornets will come flying out, so be careful.
Camouflage is an indispensable tool when you're sneaking through the jungle. To use camouflage, first press the Start button to go to the Survival viewer. Then select Camouflage and press the Enter button. Select Uniform to select Battle Fatigues, and Face to select Face Paint. Choose battle fatigues that match the surrounding environment. The most effective camouflage is attained by selecting fatigues that blend in with the environment. Camouflage patterns that stand out in your surroundings will attract attention. Visibility is poor in the jungle, so you'll be finding yourself in a lot of unexpected encounters. Naturally, this means that close quarters combat will be more important than ever.
So I'll have plenty of chances to use CQC then.
That's right. In proximity encounters, firing a gun isn't necessarily the best response to every situation. It's only one option among many. Rather than taking the time to draw, aim, and fire a gun, engaging your opponent in hand-to-hand combat can sometimes be a faster and more reliable way of subduing him. Besides, in a sneaking mission like this one, it's too dangerous to go around firing your gun. You'll end up revealing yourself to the enemy.
Yeah, I know. You created CQC to deal with exactly this type of situation.
With your help, of course. In a battle situation, you'll only have a split second to decide how to attack. Use the weapon button to attack using a weapon, and the CQC button to attack using CQC. Press the CQC button once to throw a punch. Pressing it multiple times in succession will allow you to deliver a combo attack. But striking your opponent is just one aspect of CQC. It doesn't really start to shine until you've got your enemy in a hold. Press and hold down the CQC button to grab your opponent with your right hand. From there, you can use the left stick to knock your opponent off balance and throw him to the ground. This can be used to knock an opponent out in a single blow. If you don't press the left stick, grapple with your enemy until you're behind them and can get your knife to their throat. Grabbing an enemy from behind and holding your knife against his throat will render him virtually powerless. From this point, there are several things you can do. Press the CQC button hard to slit the enemy's throat with your knife. Move the left stick and press the CQC button to throw the enemy to the ground. Lightly tap the CQC button rapidly to choke the enemy. You can use this to knock him out or even kill him if you do it long enough. By continuing to hold down the CQC button, you can move around while keeping your grip on the enemy. By pressing the weapon button, you can aim your currently equipped weapon at another enemy. With their comrade acting as a human shield, the enemy will be reluctant to attack you. Press the left stick to press your knife against the enemy and demand information. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn this way. But don't get too complacent. While your enemy may be powerless in your grip, he'll use any opportunity he can to counterattack.
Snake, once you head further north, you'll be entering enemy territory. You'd best get used to using camouflage and hunting for food while you have the convenience.
Looks like you found a Golova.
Golova?
Yeah, it's a fruit that's found only in that region. It's related to the jackfruit, which is commonly found in Southeast Asia.
Jackfruit, huh?
Yep, he's a cannibal.
Huh?
I didn't say anything.
No, I'm sure you...
I said, I'm sure you'd like it.
Oh.
Golova means head in Russian. It's probably called that because the fruit grows to about the size of a human head. It's supposedly pretty good to eat with a uniquely sweet flavor. The fruit itself is fairly large, so you can make a meal out of it. Golovas grow directly off the trunk of the tree. If you're running low on stamina, it might be a good idea to keep an eye on the tree trunks.
Sokolov should be at the abandoned factory to the north, so head in that direction.
Snake.
What's up, boss?
Don't you what's up me.
Okay then, what is it?
I'm talking about your camouflage. Why aren't you using it?
Oh.
When you don't use any camouflage at all, you stick out like a sore thumb. Didn't you listen to a word I said?
Well, I was listening, but...
Then start using your camouflage. Is that clear?
Yeah.
You can only use CQC to grab enemies when your right hand is free to grab and pull them toward you. In other words, when you're barehanded or equipped with a one-handed weapon like a survival knife or a handgun. You won't be able to grab hold of enemies when equipped with two-handed weapons, such as the assault rifle or weapons such as hand grenades that don't leave your right hand free to control the enemy.
So in other words, I can't throw enemies with CQC when I'm holding an assault rifle or a hand grenade.
Exactly. Don't forget it. Snake.
What's up, boss?
Don't you what's up me. Just what do you think you're doing?
What do you mean?
What do I mean? What is that camouflage you're wearing?
Oh, this. What do you think?
Of all the...
Looks pretty good on me, doesn't it?
Are you out of your mind? You can't wear that in battle. It's like saying to the enemy, "Hey, here I am, shoot me."
Well, I'll admit it is a little on the flashy side.
Then why don't you...
But it does look good on me, doesn't it? You don't think so?
Listen, wise ass. Camouflage isn't going to do jack if it doesn't help you blend in with your surroundings.
Well, I think it looks good on me.
Fine. Wear whatever you want.
Thought you'd like it.
Snake, did you take off your uniform?
Yeah,
What's the matter?
just needed to loosen up.
I know there's a naked option under uniform in the camouflage window that lets you take off your uniform. But without a uniform on, your camo index will remain low, and you'll burn through your stamina more quickly. So stop acting like a fool and put some camouflage on now. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
I see you're using the Easy Gun. The Easy Gun is a silenced tranquilizer gun for special ops use, developed for Fox by the CIA's technology division.
A silenced tranquilizer gun. I don't see a suppressor on here.
Apparently, the tranquilizer rounds themselves are designed to suppress the sound.
Interesting. In other words, I won't have to worry about the suppressor wearing out on me, right?
That's right. It's also equipped with a laser sight so that you can make accurate shots even at a distance. In addition, merely equipping the Easy Gun should have a positive effect on your camo index. I've even heard it helps you recover your stamina. Put it to good use. Normally, you would ask a fellow soldier how well your camouflage is working. But this is a solo sneaking mission, so nobody out there is on your side. You have to determine how well your camouflage is working by yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Don't worry, that's what the camo index is for. The camo index tells you how well you've imitated the surroundings. The higher the index, the more well disguised you are. With a high enough camo index, you can even fool enemies inches away. If you are in an area where encounters are a high concern, keep your camo index high. Got it? In my day, I did my share of sneaking into enemy territory.
You mean since World War II?
Yeah, mostly snatch missions.
Snatch mission. That's where you abduct an enemy officer without killing him, right?
Right. That's where I got the original idea for CQC. In a snatch mission, taking out the target's escorts by shooting them is not an option. If the enemy hears the gunshot, they'll know there's an intruder and tighten security. And the target will sense danger and try to get away.
You needed a way to take out the guards and secure the target without making a sound.
That was the idea. The CQC style that you and I developed is based on the techniques I cultivated during those missions. So,
First time I've heard this.
huh?
You've never told me any of this before.
I didn't?
No. Why?
Hmm.
Why didn't you tell me this before? Why now?
I have my reasons. This is a solo sneaking mission. There's no one out there to support you. You'll need to be more than just a soldier. You'll have to be a medic, a pilot, and even a cook.
You don't need to remind me.
I'm glad to hear that.
Glad to hear what?
That you haven't changed a bit. The truth is, you're nervous, aren't you?
I'm not nervous.
There's no need to be embarrassed. No one's ever attempted a mission like this before. In fact, you might say that getting nervous is the natural way to react. Relax. That's why you have the survival viewer. The survival viewer contains everything you'll need to stay alive in the field. Use camouflage to change your camouflage, backpack to select a weapon, food to eat, and cure to heal yourself. The map option lets you view the map, and the options function lets you change the settings to suit your individual style. The survival viewer is going to be your best friend in this mission, so learn to make the most of it. Choose battle fatigues that... It takes more than just clothes to make a good disguise. To camouflage yourself effectively, you'll need to wear face paint. Face paint is camouflage applied to the face. Bare skin sticks out like a sore thumb in the jungle, so always protect yourself with face paint. Choose a color that matches the features of your surroundings, and use your finger to apply the face paint. Start by applying a light color, then gradually move up in darkness. That way, even if you make a mistake, you can cover it up with a later, darker color. In order to flatten the appearance of your face, use light colors on areas of the face that recede, and dark colors on areas that protrude. Open the survival viewer, go to camouflage, then select face, and you'll find a selection of face paints. Be sure to select a face paint that makes you blend right into your surroundings, okay? Camouflage is about blending in with nature. To ensure effective camouflage, you have to stay low and keep still. As long as you have camouflage fatigues, face paint that matches the environment, and lay on your stomach, you don't need to be concerned with being spotted by distant enemies. On the other hand, no amount of camouflage will keep you hidden from the enemy if you're running around. So when you need to hide from the enemy, lie as low as possible and stay still. You can check the camo index to see how your movement and position affects the quality of your disguise. Hunters have known about camouflage since ancient times. But it's only quite recently, since the 18th century, that it's been applied to military operations. The first camouflage introduced to the military was a solid-colored uniform designed to blend in with the battlefield. It was really more of a protective coloring than true camouflage. Camouflage in the modern sense of the word wasn't introduced until the First World War. During that war, weapons such as aircraft, cannon, and warships were painted in camouflage colors. But it was almost never used to disguise individual soldiers. The widespread use of camouflage began in World War II. The Germans and the Russians in particular made active use of it in battle. Nowadays, with the Cold War raging, the Eastern Bloc has been hard at work developing all sorts of camouflage patterns. In the West, the French implemented it in their paratrooper corps, and SAS during the Wars of Independence in Indochina.
I never saw it used in Korea, though.
America has lagged behind other countries in incorporating camouflage. They're only just beginning to consider introducing it into certain units.
Why is that?
Apparently, there are those in the U.S. military who consider camouflage too passive a technique.
Morons.
You're telling me. But now more and more people are beginning to appreciate how useful and important camouflage can be. I'm sure the brass will see the light soon enough. To place a weapon on your person, press the... The first person... The sooner you find the enemy, the... When you aim your hand... For the assault rifle and certain... Stalking is a movement technique that eliminates even the sound of your footsteps. Stalking involves putting your weight on your rear foot, then stepping forward slowly with your front foot. Before putting down the front foot, use the tip of your foot to check for dangerous objects or branches that might create a noise when stepped upon. Once you've determined the spot is safe to step on, slowly lower your foot to the ground, placing it down from the outside edge first, and then slowly lowering your weight onto the foot. Throughout the entire process, you have to strain your calves to retain balance. But all you need to do is press the directional button in the direction you wish to move. When stalking, you can move without creating sound with your footsteps. And since your posture is low while stalking, you are that much less likely to be spotted by the enemy. Since you move cautiously while stalking, you will be able to detect a trap on the ground before it is set off. However, the slow, concentrated movement while stalking consumes high amounts of stamina. Switch between walking and running with the left stick and stalking with the directional buttons depending on the situation. In the jungle, it's absolutely crucial to keep your position secret from the enemy. Sometimes even the smallest sound can be enough to give your position away and get you killed. You'll have to make sure your weapons and equipment don't make noise bumping around. Use tape to secure metal objects and other items that seem likely to produce noise. After you've secured your gear, jump up and down to see whether it makes a sound.
Don't worry, I remember the drill. Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Snake, your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. We can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage. Change your camouflage by selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will help you conceal yourself more effectively. Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you just stand up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted. But if you crawl instead, you should be able to sneak by without being noticed. You can see how effective your camouflage is by looking at the Camo Index. The Camo Index shows how well your current camouflage blends in with the surrounding area. The higher the value, the harder you are to spot, and vice versa. The key is to make yourself one with nature. Keep that in mind as you go along, okay?
The gauge below your life gauge is your stamina gauge. It shows, as the name suggests, your remaining stamina. As you consume stamina, your natural life regeneration is slowed and your hands shake more. Your O2 gauge and grip gauge also become shorter. Excessively low stamina can often impede your mission objectives. Make sure you replenish stamina before that occurs.
Select Map in the Survival Viewer to view a map of the area you're currently in. It shows your present location and the places you've been to. In addition, if you acquire information from enemies, the map may also display enemy unit positions and the location of items. To get information from an enemy, grab him from behind using CQC and press the left stick. To succeed in any mission, knowing how to put information about the zone of operation to effective use will be essential. Map will serve you well.
What was that?
Speak. Speak.
Crocodiles taste great.
Speak.
Throw a grenade into a crocodile's mouth.
Freeze.
Snake, I recommend against leaving the bodies of your victims lying around. If the enemy spots a fallen comrade, they'll realize that they've been infiltrated and strengthen their guard. When you kill an enemy, hide the body in the grass or at some other location where it won't be spotted. Stand near a fallen enemy and press the weapon button with no weapon equipped to grab the body. Hold the weapon button and move to drag the body. Release the weapon button to put the body down. Sokolov should be at the abandoned factory to the north, so head in that direction. Snake, remember that this operation is a solo sneaking mission. We'll be providing you with support over the radio, but out in the field you're on your own. There's no backup. And there's no way you'll survive a battle with a large enemy contingent. Avoid engagement whenever possible. Your highest priority in this mission is staying out of sight. Snake, that region is inside the enemy's area of control.
I know. Time for the real deal.
The enemy is running regular patrols. You don't know when or where you might run into them. Use camouflage prudently and proceed with caution. Snake, did you find food?
Yeah,
You sound happy.
I am.
Do you know how to eat it? Then let me explain. To eat food, press the Start button to enter the Survival Viewer, then select Food. Select the food you want to eat and press the Enter button. Select Eat, and you will eat the selected food. When you eat, you will recover your stamina, but the extent of recovery depends on what you eat. When your stamina is down only slightly, you should save your tastier morsels for later. But don't leave food for too long or it'll rot. This is where a little planning ahead goes a long way.
Besides eating food, you can throw it at enemies to confuse them. So remember, food is not just for eating. Be creative. Snake, camouflage uniforms alone are not enough. You'll need to put on face paint as well. Snake, camouflage and face paint alone won't make you blend in completely. In addition to the camouflage itself, your physical position is a crucial dynamic you should keep in mind. Snake, when your stamina gets low, it negatively affects your physical abilities. You've got to replenish your stamina before it runs out.
The gauge below your life gauge is your stamina gauge. It shows, as the name suggests, your remaining stamina. As you consume stamina, your natural life regeneration is slowed and your hands shake more.
Your actions can lower your stamina. The more demanding the activity, the more stamina consumed. Snake, use the survival viewer to pick your camouflage, treat wounds, and eat food.
Major,
What is it?
it's about your code name.
Major Tom?
Yeah, where'd you get that name?
From a tunnel.
A tunnel?
That's right. Snake, have you seen the movie The Great Escape?
No.
It's a movie about a determined group of Allied POWs trapped in a German POW camp who plan an escape. The POWs dig 3 tunnels for their escape. They named them Dick, Harry, and Tom.
I see. So Tom was an escape tunnel. Did they make it?
Out of the camp? Of course. One of the tunnels was even discovered before it was finished, but eventually they do make it out.
I get it now. So Tom was the tunnel they used to escape.
Yes, that's right.
What is it?
Well, actually, I'm not sure if I remember correctly.
Major.
Oh, it's all right. It's, Tom, Snake. Tom is the escape tunnel. Yes, no question about it. Snake, in order to carry out the mission without being spotted, you must learn to detect an approaching enemy well ahead of time. Press the first-person view button and use the first-person view to constantly check your surroundings as you proceed. You can use an equipped weapon during first-person view. Snake, making it harder for the enemy to spot you isn't the only advantage to maintaining a high camo index. The harder you are to distinguish from your surroundings, the harder you are to hit. In other words, the enemy's shots will miss more often. Do everything you can to keep your camo index high at all times.
Keep in mind that your weapons and equipment each have their own weight. Storing a heavy item on your person will cause your stamina to drain more quickly. If you're getting tired or want to conserve your stamina, it's a good idea to put any items you're not going to use back into your backpack. There is one weapon greater than any other in battle. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
What?
Do we have to go through this again?
Yes,
Will. An unflinching will to survive no matter what.
exactly. The will to carry out your mission and return home alive will see you through even the most desperate of situations. It's the most potent weapon in your arsenal. Don't forget that, no matter what. Treetops, bushes, hollow logs. There are plenty of places in nature you can use to hide yourself. Search each area carefully in first-person view. Use nature to its fullest extent. You'll thank me later. If you want to survive in the jungle, you're going to need to hone all of your senses. An unnatural movement in the undergrowth, a tiny shadow peeking out through the trees in the distance. Always keep an eye out for any signs of the enemy's presence. Your sense of hearing is equally important. Visibility is poor in the jungle, so you've got to learn to pick up the enemy's presence from the sounds you hear around you. Always be listening for that one snap of a twig among the chirping of the birds and the babbling of the brooks. Your sense of smell is also important. Body odor, sweat, gunpowder, food. These faint smells wafting in the wind will tell you where the enemy...
No.
No?
I can't smell.
You? What now?
I can't smell.
Not at all.
Nope.
Not even a little bit.
Not a thing.
Oh. Well then, you'll just have to trust in your instincts as a gamer.
Sokolov should be at the abandoned factory to the north, so head in that direction.
Eat food to recover stamina.
If you rapid-fire the assault rifle, the recoil of the gun will cause your shots to stray from their intended targets. Firing from a crouched position or while lying on your stomach will stabilize the recoil and keep your hits more consistent. Even while hanging, you can fire your handgun with one arm. And if you're attacked during a hanging maneuver, don't panic and claim the advantage. Equipment captured in the field often needs to be fixed or have its parts replaced before it can be used. But you won't need to worry about that in this mission.
Why's that?
Because your adversaries are highly trained professionals. They'll no doubt have made sure their reserve gear is in working condition.
So in other words, I can use the stuff I pick up right away?
Right. One more thing. When you pick up a new item, don't forget to read its description in the window. You said the enemy is equipped with AK-47s, didn't you? The AK-47 is the official assault rifle of the Soviet Army. It's employed not only by the Soviets, but throughout the entire Eastern Bloc. It uses 7.62 millimeter by 39 ammunitions, with a magazine capacity of 30 rounds. The AK is reliable, precise, powerful, and easy to handle. In short, one of the best assault rifles there is. Don't even think about getting into a one-man firefight against an enemy unit equipped with AKs. Avoid battle as much as possible. Are we clear? You mentioned the enemy was also carrying grenades, correct? Those grenades are RGD-5s, the standard blast fragmentation grenade of the Soviet Army. You can protect yourself from a large part of the blast and shrapnel from a grenade by lying flat on the ground. If someone throws a grenade at you and you sense that you can't get away in time, get into a crawl position. It should reduce the damage to a minimum. When you see an enemy, the first thing to do is conceal yourself and watch what he's doing. If you make any sudden moves, your camo index will decrease, and there's a good chance the enemy will catch sight of you. And don't start to panic just because an enemy is acting like he knows you're there. It doesn't necessarily mean he's figured out exactly where you are. As long as you hide someplace like the bushes and stay perfectly still, you'll usually come out all right. Stay calm, keep a grip on the situation, and use clear judgment. Got it? Your ultimate objective in this mission is to find Sokolov and get him to safety, not to slaughter the enemy.
So basically, I should avoid getting into battles, right? You don't have to tell me.
To avoid battles, it will be essential to scout out the enemy's numbers and positions. That's what your binoculars are for. Tell me, what's the advantage of a solo sneaking mission?
It's easier to go in undetected than with a group.
Exactly. And therein lies the entire reasoning behind this Virtuous mission. This mission into Soviet territory is a violation of international law. If this gets out to the public, we'll be faced with an international crisis even greater than the one 4 years ago.
4 years ago, the U-2 crash.
Failure is not an option.
Not a problem. I'll get Sokolov out without them ever knowing I was here.
Your objective in this mission isn't to get into fights. But if you're faced with a situation where you have no choice but to get rid of an enemy, attack him from behind. If you use stalking to sneak up behind an enemy and take him out in one strike, the other enemies probably won't even notice. If it doesn't look like you'll be able to sneak up from behind, wait for him to come toward you. Either figure out the enemy's patrol route and get there before he does, or make a sound or throw something to get his attention. And if he does spot you, don't hesitate. Take him out before he has a chance to alert his comrades to your presence. Got it? Enemies pose a greater threat when they patrol in squads. The members of a squad are constantly watching out for each other, making it difficult to take them out without being noticed. If you absolutely have to attack a squad, use CQC or a gun equipped with a suppressor and start with the last one in line, then work your way up. A tactical reload is a change of magazines carried out before the bullets in the magazine are completely used up. It keeps you from running out of bullets near your enemies, so that you can keep up your level of firepower, and you will always have a bullet in your chamber. The trick is, don't lower your gun or your line of sight when reloading. Keep your line of sight up and concentrate on your surroundings while changing magazines. And don't forget to retrieve magazines that still have bullets remaining in them. The actual procedure involves unequipping your gun, and then equipping it once again. That will load the gun with a new magazine. I recommend pressing the weapon window button quickly to carry out a quick reload. The survival viewer contains everything you... The first-person view attack is a fundamental part of gunfighting. It allows you to aim in directions impossible to hit with the overhead view, like shooting enemies that are above or below you. It also makes it possible to aim for your enemy's weak points. The Tiger Stripe pattern has been in use since 1959 among the South Vietnamese Marine Corps. But the pattern originated with the French. It's said that it developed out of the brushstroke pattern, also known as lizard camouflage. It provides some cover in trees and grass, but it's especially effective in earth and mud environments. You should find it useful when you're concealing yourself by crawling on the ground. People tend to associate black camo with night operations, but that's not always the case. Wearing all black when you're out in the forest at night makes your silhouette darker and more prominent, and you end up standing out instead. To get the most out of your camouflage, it's essential to choose a pattern that matches your surroundings, even at night. Don't forget that. Press the first-person view button to switch to the first-person view. Your objective in this mission isn't to get into fights, but if you're press the CQ. The square's camouflage consists of a series of squares, each varying slightly in color and shape from the next. It has the effect of making the contours of the person wearing it more difficult to distinguish. You'll find it especially useful against brick and rusted metal backgrounds. The woodland face paint is designed for use in forests. It'll give you a high level of camouflage in a wooded environment. Try using woodland paint when you're traveling through the forest. Press the CQ. The square's Press the... The woodland face paint is designed... You can only use CQC to grab enemies. Enemies pose a greater threat.
Huh?
It's going to be tough to cross over that suspension bridge without being seen by the enemy. You'll have to figure out some way to get rid of the sentries first.
A suspension bridge, is it? If you cross that, you'll be revealed to enemies in every direction. To cross the bridge, you'll have to do something about the enemies in the area first. You could put them to sleep with a long-range tranquilizer shot, or you could get in close, lure them to you, and take them out.
Use a first-person view attack to hit enemies from afar, but be warned, if you don't take them out in one hit, your cover will be blown. When attacking from afar, it's crucial that you hit a vital spot dead on. To lure an enemy to you, deliberately make a noise or throw food at him to get his attention. You said it's a suspension bridge, right?
Yeah,
Supported by rope?
that's right.
If you cut the rope, the suspension bridge should sway quite a bit. You may be able to shake the enemies off the bridge. Your weapons aren't the only way to take out enemies. Use your head. Use a first-person view attack to hit enemies from afar. Ah, you've got a directional microphone. The directional microphone is a high-performance listening device. When you equip it, you'll go into first-person view, where the microphone will pick up sounds in whichever direction it's facing. By pointing the microphone into the forest, you can sometimes hear the footsteps of enemy soldiers lurking beyond the trees. In jungle combat, success depends on how well you can sense the enemy's presence. Use it wisely.
Sokolov should be at the abandoned factory to the north. Sokolov...
Snake, that area should be inhabited by tree frogs. The tree frog is a green frog that's found throughout Asia. It's arboreal, spending most of its time in shrubs and bushes. Use the tranquilizer gun to catch one alive. I bet you could scare an enemy good if you toss one at him. But the tree frogs that live in that jungle are a lot bigger than ordinary tree frogs.
They've got an appetite, huh?
You've got a one-track mind, don't you? But seriously, that is one theory. However, there are people who think it's a mutation caused by nuclear testing and waste from the research facility.
Do you think they're safe to eat?
Is that all you ever think about?
What else is there?
Lots.
Like what?
Like why a frog would get so big in the first place. Whether it's a temporary phenomenon created by a unique environment, or a permanent mark of evolution, or a product of the toxic waste coming out of the research facility. If it is the waste that's causing it, then it means humans are interfering with the ecosystem. It really makes you think about the changing relationship between...
This isn't interesting.
Oh, fine. Be that way.
So, how about it?
You mean, is it edible?
Yeah,
Well, I guess it's probably okay.
probably.
I don't know. The guide doesn't say anything.
Pretty useless guide, if you ask me.
Well, try one for dinner and you can help improve it. I see you found some Siberian inkcap mushrooms. The Siberian inkcap is a mushroom from the inkcap family. Its life cycle is transitory. As soon as the spores mature, the cap starts to turn black, liquefy, and melt away.
And that's why they call it an ink cap?
That's right. It doesn't really turn to liquid, but you get the idea. In its immature state, before it melts away, it's valued as a source of food. Just be sure not to eat them while you're drinking alcohol.
Why's that?
Ink caps contain coprin, which inhibits the function of aldehyde dehydrogenase. This prevents the body from breaking down alcohol, causing a buildup of acetaldehyde.
Meaning?
Meaning it will give you the hangover from hell.
Oh. Wait a minute.
What?
You think I'd drink alcohol in the middle of a mission?
Wouldn't you?
Hell no.
Well, I'm knocking a shot back now.
What?
Just teasing you.
No.
Oh, come on. Where's your sense of humor?
I need a drink.
A tactical reload is a change of magazines.
I see you have a calorie mate.
Calorie mate?
The thing you're holding now?
Oh, the little block that looks like a cookie?
Try it, it's pretty good.
Okay. But what is this thing? Never seen anything like it.
Calorie Mate is an energy supplement that contains all the proteins, lipids, vitamins, carbohydrates, and minerals needed for a balanced diet. It's a well-balanced food. Because of that, it's just perfect for giving your body the nutrition it needs in combat.
It sounds like a space-age food.
Real astronaut food is not very good, but that should taste fine.
Yeah, and it'll help balance out all this jungle food I'm eating.
It's easy and quick to eat, so it's perfect when you're running late for an important mission in the morning.
I've never been late for a mission.
Really? Aren't you always keeping people waiting?
Huh?
It's easy to keep track of your calorie intake and receive the nutrition your body needs, so it's good for losing weight, too. All of the geisha girls in Japan use it for watching their calories.
Is that why they're all so slim?
Right. And any diet where you eat nothing at all is bad for the body.
I see. You seem to know a lot about Japan, don't you?
Yes, I love Japan.
The weapon you're equipped with now is called the XM-16E1. It's a new type of rifle currently being developed by the U.S. Army.
If it's still in development, then what's it doing here?
My guess is they captured it when it was being battle-tested in Southeast Asia. But the one you've got there is quite a bit different from the ones I've been hearing about. For one thing, it's camo-painted, and it's fitted with a 3-shot burst mechanism. It even looks like you could attach a suppressor. All of these modifications are geared towards jungle combat. This doesn't look like the work of the Soviets. My guess is they were added on site by an American gunsmith during Army field trials. Open the weapon window and press the Enter button to attach or remove the suppressor. Press the Action button to switch between semi-auto, full auto, and 3-shot burst modes. Make use of each of these functions as the situation warrants. The Tiger Stripe. The gun you're using is a test model of a suppressor-equipped pistol currently in development by the Navy that's been modified by the CIA into a tranquilizer gun. The suppressor-equipped pistol it's derived from is itself being developed for use by special forces based on the M39.
The Mark 22.
That's what they're going to call it if they decide to adopt it for official use. It uses a slide lock mechanism that will keep the firing sound down to a minimum.
But I'll have to reload it by hand every time I fire, right?
Right. You won't be able to fire multiple shots at once, so make every shot count. Aim for the enemy's vital spots. There's talk of designing the Mark 22 to accommodate special subsonic rounds, but for this mission, you'll be using specifically designed tranquilizer rounds. In a way, these tranquilizer rounds are like miniature syringes. When one of them strikes a target, the impact causes a needle contained within to shoot out. At the same time, chemicals inside the round are mixed to create a gas, which pushes the plunger and injects the tranquilizer into the target. You can knock out an enemy immediately by shooting them in the head, but if you shoot them in the arm or leg, the tranquilizing agent will take some time to set in. Aim carefully. I see you've got the survival knife equipped. The survival knife is a necessity in the field. Press the weapon button to swing the knife. Press it repeatedly to perform a combo attack. The knife lets you kill an enemy silently, so you should find it useful when the situation calls for stealth. In addition to fighting the enemy, you can also use the knife to capture wild animals. That one knife can provide you with everything you need to survive in the field. Use it well.
Anybody there?
Major, I've reached the abandoned factory where Sokolov is supposedly being held. This place is a dump. I can't see Sokolov from here. The security is pretty tight. There are sentries posted around the perimeter. I wonder how many are inside.
Your objective, Sokolov, is inside the factory. They should be holding him in a room in the northeast section.
Northeast section. Got it.
Be careful. Your mission is to bring Sokolov back alive. He must not be exposed to any kind of danger. Do not approach Sokolov while in the alert phase.
Right.
Oh, and one more thing, Snake.
You mean there's more?
No, it's just that when you get to Sokolov, I want you to tell him something from me.
And that is?
Sorry for being so late.
Is that all?
Yes.
Understood. Beginning my approach to the target.
To take a rest, all you have to do is save and exit the game. To eat food,
Paramedic.
What's up?
Are you a medic or a doctor?
I'm a well-respected physician, or I was until I joined the CIA.
How is your reputation?
My what?
Your reputation.
Oh, that.
How was it?
Why? Don't you trust me?
That's not what I meant.
Fine then.
Uh-huh. So?
So what?
Your reputation. How was it?
My, you're relentless.
Hey, I'm a snake. So?
My reputation was spotless. I'm highly skilled, patient, and good-looking to boot. Everybody wanted to see me. What else would you expect? No, seriously.
Incidentally, her nickname back then was Quack.
Major.
Is that true?
Is what true?
About your nickname.
No. Well, maybe a few people did call me that.
So you were a quack?
No. Well, yes and no. I mean, in a sense I was, but then again I wasn't.
Snake, her skills as a doctor are beyond reproach. You have my word on that.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say, Snake.
Then why did they call her Quack?
It's because she...
Never mind that. It doesn't matter. We've got a job to do and we have to stay focused. Besides, my past doesn't have anything to do with the mission and...
Because she never shuts up.
Yes, that's it.
No, that's not it. Snake, tell him that's not true. Say something.
I'd better get back to the mission.
Yes, you do that.
Just a minute. Snake, don't you hang up on me.
Snake, Sokolov is imprisoned in the northeast area of the factory.
Got it. To the northeast.
Yes, and don't engage the enemy. The object of this mission is to bring Sokolov back safely and nothing more. Contact Sokolov without being spotted by the enemy and bring him out discreetly. If you must dispose of an enemy, do it with the tranquilizer gun. Snake, as I said before, this mission is only to bring Sokolov back safely. You must not put Sokolov in danger. You're not allowed to contact him during the alert phase. Period.
Major, you said the enemy was KGB, right?
I did.
What unit are they from? The 6th Directorate?
No, the 9th Directorate.
The 9th?
Yes,
But I thought that was...
exactly. It's the unit that protects the Kremlin and provides bodyguards for high-level VIPs.
But they're assigned to protect party and government figures. I thought that only meant high-ranking officials and their families. And now they're being sent out to stand watch over a field exercise?
That's the idea.
What's really going on?
I don't know. What I do know is that the director of the 9th Directorate is a well-known protege of Khrushchev. The Premier may have wanted to assign this mission to someone he knew he could trust.
So he can't trust any other units?
Ever since the withdrawal from Cuba, Khrushchev's position has been getting weaker day by day. This secret test is an act of desperation by a cornered man. If nothing else, the completion of Sokolov's new weapon in this test should help re-establish Khrushchev's authority in Moscow.
So what you're saying is, there's also a good chance that whoever doesn't want to see that happen is going to try and interfere.
Most likely, Khrushchev must have anticipated this and sent his most loyal unit, his trump card, to make sure that all goes well. Snake, be careful. The way to change between standing, crouching and crawling has changed slightly from the methods learned in training. When standing, press the crawl button briefly to crouch and press and hold to take a crawling position. Since by crouching you take a lower position, it has a higher camo index than standing. Listen up, Snake. Keep in mind that this operation is strictly covert. Engagements should be avoided. If you must dispose of an enemy, do it with the tranquilizer gun.
Yup. Sweet dreams, Boy Scout.
That's right. And by the time he wakes up, you and Sokolov will be safely out of the country.
Sipping hot coffee on a plane back home.
What did you say? What did you say?
Sipping hot coffee on a...
You're gonna drink that foul mud? On the victory flight home?
Okay, then. What would you drink?
Tea, of course. Snake, the fake death and revival pills we gave you are the latest in internal medicines developed for intelligence ops by the CIA's technology division. You can use the fake death pill to send yourself into a death-like state for a limited period of time. Use it wisely, and you should be able to fool the enemy into thinking you're really dead. It may come in handy if you ever find yourself cornered. To revive yourself from the fake death state, use the revival pill. But when you're in the jungle, determining the position of your enemies is important. Your sensors and other electronic devices cannot be used indefinitely. Once they're activated, they consume battery power. Remember, all items draw power from a single battery. Once your battery runs out, all electronic gear becomes inoperable. You can check your remaining battery power with the icon of any item that uses electricity. Take care not to waste power. The battery recharges automatically when not in use. When you want to recharge the battery, unequip all electronic devices and give it some time. The higher your stamina gauge, the faster your battery recharges. If you want it to recharge faster, eat food and recover your stamina. Also, if you run, roll, or do other dramatic actions, the battery will recharge faster.
Wait a second.
What is it?
The higher my stamina, the faster my battery recharges?
That's what I said.
But what does my stamina have to do with the battery?
Oh, yes, I see what you're getting at. Let's have Paramedic explain that. Paramedic?
Yes, sir. It's because Snake's battery uses bioelectricity.
Bioelectricity.
Bioelectricity is electricity emitted from cells. When the cells of living things are stimulated, sodium and potassium ions move rapidly through the cell membrane's ion channel, creating a difference in electric potential. The battery uses that energy to recharge. So unless your cells have plenty of nutrients, the recharge won't work well.
Amazing the kind of machines that are available now.
But this machine has not been made public. It was designed by a scientist at the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology.
What kind of person was he?
The person who designed it?
Yeah.
I heard he was pretty strange.
Stranger than the Major?
There's nothing strange about the Major.
My tea's gone. Who drank it? How am I supposed to have tea time without tea?
Well, not too strange, at least.
Hey, my scone's gone too.
Major, what kind of place is this secret design bureau that Sokolov is heading?
The Soviets have a number of secret design bureaus like this one, each engaged in cutting-edge research. OKB-1, the bureau where the Voskhod spacecraft was developed and which plays a leading role in the Soviet space program, is one of those installations. Most of them are located in secret cities built in isolated areas, and we don't even know their exact locations, much less the nature of their research. And Sokolov's OKB-754 is the most secret bureau of them all. The intelligence communities of the West have tried time and again to find out what they're working on, but they've failed consistently.
So you have absolutely no idea what Sokolov is developing?
We've got nothing.
Then how did you get the information for this mission? It can't have been from Sokolov.
From the boss.
The boss?
That's right. She has her own intelligence channels that she cultivated during the last war. She shared what she learned with us. But we were able to get the green light for this mission at all as thanks to her pull with the powers that be at the CIA. In other words, this mission would never have come together without the boss's help in a number of respects.
Huh? Are those footsteps?
Freeze!
That area is home to the reticulated python. The reticulated python is said to be the longest snake in the world. The biggest ones can grow up to 10 meters in length. Although they're not poisonous, they're still very dangerous, so be careful around them. They have a highly ferocious temperament, and they can swallow whole, even large animals like deer and pigs. Their most distinguishing feature is the mesh pattern of their scales. This pattern acts as a highly effective natural camouflage. If you think there might be a reticulated python about, pay close attention to your surroundings. Otherwise, you could get bitten before you even know it's there. It's a huge snake, but you should be able to capture it alive by using the tranquilizer gun. I'll bet if you capture one and throw it at an enemy, it'll give him a good scare.
Right. But how do they taste?
Huh?
Do they taste good?
You're actually going to eat one.
Why else would I be asking?
Cannibal.
What was that?
Nothing. Let's see what the guide says. Ah, you're in luck. It says they taste pretty good.
Good. I can hardly wait.
Ugh. That area is home to the Sunda whistling thrush. The Sunda whistling thrush is a bird native to Java and Sumatra. It's distinguished by its large blue body and long beak. It really stands out in the forest. If you're aiming to catch one alive, use the tranquilizer gun.
Got it. So...
How does it taste?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know.
The guide doesn't say. I guess there's no reason you couldn't eat them.
Oh, I see.
But it's nice and plump, so I'm sure it'd make a hearty meal.
That's a good point.
Ugh. If you have any questions about stamina or healing, just ask me. I'll tell you everything you need to know. It'll have to be over the radio, though.
So you won't be able to see me naked, then?
Yeah, I'm devastated. But I'll bet that 50 years from now, you'll be able to see who you're talking to on the radio.
I'll be retired from active duty by then.
I don't know. Somebody somewhere might just decide to give you a call.
Wouldn't surprise me. Let's both pray that never happens.
Snake, there are rats living in that area. The rats in that area are the descendants of wild Norway rats that were domesticated by humans as pets and lab animals. They're not poisonous, and I don't think they'll attack you, but they're quick little creatures, so you might have a hard time catching one.
Uh-huh. So how do they taste?
Snake,
What?
they're rats.
I know what they are. Do they taste okay?
The guide says they're not that bad.
Good enough for me.
Ugh. Say, Snake, about that helmet and oxygen mask you took off right after you parachuted in?
Oh, those? Those are the helmet assembly and oxygen system assembly I used to make the halo jump. The helmet is fitted with a bayonet fastener that attaches to the oxygen mask. It's also got earphones and a boom mic.
I'm not interested in all that stuff.
So why did you bring it up?
It reminds me of something.
Reminds you of something.
Yeah.
The mask.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is, and I can't stop thinking about it.
That's what you've been thinking about?
Yeah, every time I'm about to remember it, it slips away from me again. Don't you just hate that?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've seen it somewhere before. Any ideas?
How would I...
That's it!
What?
The fly!
The fly?
Yeah, it finally came to me. You look just like him. Oh, I feel better.
The fly?
From the movie, The Fly? You've never seen it?
No.
Geez, where have you been? It's about this scientist who's conducting teleportation experiments when he gets mixed up with a fly and ends up with the fly's head attached to his body.
Never heard of it.
That's too bad. It's a good movie. That area is home to the Sunda whistling thrush. The Sunda whistling thrush. When you get hurt, your body will heal itself naturally over time. Snake, if you or one of your comrades is wounded in battle, what do you usually do?
I call for a medic.
What if there's no medic nearby?
I don't even want to think about that.
Think about it.
That's my worst nightmare. Any soldier can perform basic first aid, but it takes a specialist to perform the more complicated procedures. I know a lot of guys who'd still be alive today if they'd had access to a medic.
Me too. So I got to thinking, wouldn't it be great if we could parachute medics into the front lines where they're needed most?
You bet. That's why you're called paramedic.
Yeah. With a unit like that, we could save a couple of lives, huh?
No,
No?
not a couple. We could save many lives.
Thanks. I think the Army needs a unit like that. And if no one else will do it, I'm going to create one myself.
Sounds like a plan.
Will you help me?
Count on it.
Snake, do you know what epinephrine is?
What's with the questions?
Well, do you?
No,
Also known as adrenaline?
never heard of it.
Really?
Nope.
I have.
Good for you.
Do you want to hear about it?
Not really.
Oh, I think you should hear about it.
Here we go.
So, epinephrine is a type of hormone. It's secreted from the adrenal glands in high-stress situations, like when you're exercising or you're under pressure. The epinephrine is released into the bloodstream and stimulates special receptor cells on various organs throughout the body. This causes the heart to beat faster, the blood vessels to constrict, and the respiratory passages to expand. It also raises blood pressure. You ever notice how you're faster and stronger than normal when you're under stress? That's because of epinephrine, and when you're bleeding, it...
Paramedic.
Yeah,
Is there a point to all of this?
of course. In the alert phase, your body secretes epinephrine, and so your stamina won't be depleted as fast.
Uh-huh.
There, good thing I told you, huh?
As always.
That area is home to the reticulated pipe. That area is home to the Snake, there are rats living in that area. The rats in that area are the descendants of wild Norway rats that were domesticated by humans as pets and lab animals. They're not poisonous, and I don't think they'll... You can capture animals alive by using the tranquilizer gun or a mouse trap. When you capture a live animal, you can carry it on you as a weapon by going to Backpack in the survival viewer. Once an animal is on your person, equip it and press the weapon button to throw it. Throwing a venomous animal at an enemy might be enough to knock him out. Even non-venomous animals like frogs can be used to distract the enemy's attention. And since I know you're going to ask me, yes, keeping animals alive prevents them from rotting and makes them taste better when you eat them. Remember, though, you've only got 3 cages for capturing live animals.
The intelligence says that they are going to make their move during the test.
Then, the soldiers outside.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that many men just to keep me inside. Their orders were to prevent Colonel Volgin from capturing me. Even if it meant killing me in the process, or so it would seem. Volgin will come. I'm sure of it. You must get me out of here before then.
Leave it to me.
by the way. Your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it?
From my mentor.
Is that so? America is truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts?
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.
Major, this is Snake. Sokolov is safe with me. He's doing fine. No injuries.
Good work, Snake. Now hurry up and get Sokolov to the recovery point. We'll rendezvous with you there.
Roger.
What about the sentries?
No one spotted me.
I see.
What about the boss?
We lost contact with the boss some time ago.
What happened?
It's probably just a weak signal. Just hurry and get Sokolov out of there.
Freeze!
So this is the legendary boss.
Huh?
Huh? We meet at last.
You're from the Ocelot unit of Spetsnaz. Huh. What's a GRU soldier doing here?
Soldier?
He's the Ocelot commander.
Ha! That's Major Ocelot to you. And don't you forget it.
Sokolov is ours. Now get out of here.
And Ocelot never lets his prey escape.
What?
I can't say it feels good to kill a comrade, even if it is for the GRU.
Sokolov, take cover.
Huh. You're not the boss, are you?
Crew operatives!
What is that stance? Huh. That gun. If you're not the boss, then die.
Major! Leave it! Shoot the other one! Whoa!
You ejected the first bullet by hand, didn't you? I see what you were trying to do. But testing a technique you've only heard about in the middle of battle wasn't very smart. You were asking to have your gun jam on you. Huh? Besides, I don't think you're cut out for an automatic in the first place. You tend to twist your elbow to absorb the recoil. That's more of a revolver technique.
You filthy American dog!
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Major, do you read me?
I read you. Snake, you all right?
I've run into a few snags. These guys were after Sokolov, too. Apparently they were taking orders from a GRU colonel named Volgin.
A GRU colonel?
Part of an internal Soviet power struggle, according to Sokolov. Something between the KGB and GRU. Between Khrushchev's supporters and Volgin's.
Sokolov was being guarded by the KGB and hunted by GRU? Snake, it sounds like this could be even hotter than Cuba.
I don't like it. Something about the whole thing stinks.
I agree. You'd better hurry.
Sokolov ran off by himself, but I'll catch up to him.
We're counting on you. Snake, stay alert. The KGB and GRU both have their sights set on Sokolov. GRU is a military espionage outfit, the intelligence wing of the Soviet Defense Ministry's General Staff Office. It competes with the KGB, which is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the two are always watching each other.
Never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing.
Exactly. Now, added to that rivalry, there's a vicious power struggle going on between the Khrushchev faction and the anti-Khrushchev faction.
So Khrushchev is using the KGB, and Volgin and the anti-Khrushchev forces are using the GRU?
That's the idea. The two factions are fighting over Sokolov. We're in an extremely dangerous situation here.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Get Sokolov out of there safely. He must not be turned over to the KGB or to the GRU. Sokolov took off in the direction of the rope bridge. Get after him. Hurry!
Major, have you been able to contact the boss?
No.
You really think it's bad reception?
We're looking into it.
Major.
Snake, you've got more important things to worry about than contacting the boss. Right now, Sokolov is out there wandering around the jungle alone. What are you going to do if he gets caught by the enemy? We're still looking into why we lost contact with the boss. I'll let you know as soon as we find anything out. In the meantime, it's your job to find Sokolov and get him to safety. Got it?
Major, do you know anything about this GRU colonel Sokolov was talking about?
Yes.
Who is he?
A most dangerous man indeed. His name is Yevgeny Borisovich Volgin. His code name in the West is Thunderbolt. He's gained a reputation as the most brutal and cold-blooded of the Soviet spy masters. During the war, Volgin was assigned to the domestic branch of the NKVD. He was stationed in the rear of the Soviet line to catch and punish any troops who tried to retreat or desert. He's also notorious for his accomplishments in anti-guerrilla operations in the Ukraine and the Baltic states. Apparently, he likes to boast that he disposed of over 100,000 anti-communists. We also know that he was instrumental in putting down the 1953 insurrection in East Germany and the 1956 uprising in Hungary. He is truly a fearsome man. There's no telling what he might be plotting. Be careful.
I will. Major, what's this Grand Design Bureau Sokolov was talking about?
OKB 812. It's the same type of top-secret facility as Sokolov's own OKB 754. The director is a man by the name of Alexander Leonovich Granin. He's Sokolov's arch-rival, and the two have competed fiercely against each other since the days of the war. To hear Sokolov tell it, though, the rivalry was really all in Granin's head. In any case, Granin seems to harbor an unusually intense hatred for Sokolov. Knowing that Sokolov was protected under the aegis of Khrushchev, Granin threw in his lot with Volgin, the vanguard of the anti-Khrushchev movement. Apparently, Granin meant to use the funds provided by these opposition forces in order to defeat his old foe. Volgin, for his part, was intrigued by the possibility of using the high-tech weapons Granin created in the fight against Khrushchev. Thus, the two formed an alliance, and Volgin took the Granin Design Bureau under his control.
But now Volgin's got his sights set on Sokolov.
Yes, it would seem that he and Granin aren't getting along so well after all. By the way, Snake, what were you doing back there?
Back where?
You were giving some kind of advice to a GRU commander, weren't you?
Yeah?
He's your enemy. What the hell were you thinking?
Really? What was all that about doing the thing with your hand on the first round or whatever?
Whenever he put a new clip in his gun, he'd always load the first round by hand, whether there was a round left in the chamber or not. It's a technique they teach in the Middle East. By making sure there's always a round in the chamber, you eliminate the risk of pulling the trigger with nothing to fire. He must have heard about it from someone or read it somewhere. In any case, he probably wanted to try it out for himself. And he was obviously motivated by vanity to show off his new technique. That's when you make mistakes. The battlefield is an unforgiving place. The only techniques you can rely on are the ones you've mastered through experience and practice.
Uh-huh. And what were you saying about him being more suited to revolvers?
When he fired, he was bending his elbow sharply to avoid the recoil. It looked like he wasn't aware he was doing it, but that habit can be either a fatal flaw or a gift.
What do you mean?
Automatic weapons use recoil to operate, so if you don't let the recoil hit you, it interferes with the operating cycle of the gun. Basically, he shouldn't be trying to avoid the impact like that. But with a revolver, there's no need to let the recoil hit you. Just the opposite. Avoiding the recoil lets you reduce the strain on your hand and arm. That kid might just be handy with a high-caliber revolver.
Handy? Are you listening to yourself?
What do you mean?
He's the enemy. Why are you giving him advice? Snake.
I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't help but point it out to him.
Snake, are you all right?
Yeah.
Get Sokolov out of there safely. He must not be turned over to the KGB or to the GRU. Sokolov took off in the direction of the rope bridge. In the 2 years since Sokolov's asylum operation, I spent all my time making preparations. And now is the time to show some results. Fox is a next-generation espionage organization designed to update us for 21st century operations that I propose to the CIA. Fox sends individuals who excel in espionage and special tactics on solo sneaking missions like this one. A next-generation unit that combines the skills of special forces units like the SAS and Green Berets with the know-how of an infiltration and espionage unit.
Military politics never was my strong suit.
What I'm trying to say is stealth. This is a stealth mission, crucial to the coming Cold War. The CIA director has always frowned upon Fox, but if this mission succeeds, Fox will be added to the CIA as an official unit. I intend to make Fox the leader in special operations. And to that end, this mission must succeed.
Right.
I'm counting on you, Snake. Snake, I don't recommend running around wildly. You need to determine when it's best to run and when it's best just to walk. Move the left stick slightly to walk. You won't move very fast, but it consumes little stamina, and enemies are less likely to detect you. With an equipped weapon, the degree to which part of your Snake, if you step in any wall, equip food. Snake, the Mark 22 is... Snake, let me explain the enemy. After you've grabbed... Press the... Snake, remember that the suppressor is a limited commodity.
I know. No suppressor lasts forever.
Exactly. When the suppressor's durability wears away, it breaks beyond repair. See the weapon icon to check the suppressor's present level of durability. Remove the suppressor from your gun if you want to make it last. Snake, certain enemy soldiers are equipped with radios. It's possible to destroy the radio that enemy correspondents use. Snake, this operation is a sneaking mission. You'll be doing your job right under the enemy's nose. In the event that you're spotted by an enemy, disable him before he can alert nearby soldiers. If you can take him out before he alerts other enemies of your presence, then the alert phase will quickly be restored to normal phase. But don't forget, even this should only happen in emergencies. Your top priority is to avoid being spotted by the enemy in the first place. Be effective. Snake, the damage that an enemy takes from your gun depends on where you hit him. If you hit an arm or leg, one shot won't be enough to finish him. Snake, I've completed the double check on the Fulton recovery system.
Any problems?
None. Leave your recovery to us.
Excellent.
I suppose I should explain the procedure once more before the actual maneuver.
No.
I see. Well, the Fulton recovery system allows for rapid recovery of personnel from enemy territory, and it's perfect for these kinds of special operations. Basically, how it works is the plane flies by and snags a nylon lift line that the soldier has grabbed onto, and that's been elevated by a balloon. The Fulton recovery system was first designed in the 1940s as a method of picking up mail for the American Postal Service. During the Korean War, that system was redesigned to recover personnel. JAC, an ancillary organization to the CIA. Yes, good old JAC. It stands for Joint Advisory Commission Korea. Isn't that something? So, JAC first used the Fulton surface-to-air recovery system to extract agents from North Korea and mainland China. Let's go over the procedure once more, to be on the safe side. First, the plane drops a canister about the size of a coffin to you. Inside, you'll find a balloon, a 1,500-foot cable, and a harness that attaches to your suit. Take the items out, attach the line to your suit, fill the balloon with helium, and send the line up. The plane will approach at 125 miles per hour. Snag the cable just below the balloon with a hook on the nose of the aircraft, and whisk you away. Assuming the pickup is successful, you'll be reeled in with a winch and pulled to safety into the rear of the aircraft. Got it? Snake?
Yeah, I got it. I got it real good.
Were you listening?
Yeah.
All right, then. You can get inside trees that are hollowed out from decay. Snake, when you stand up against a tree or put your back against the wall near a corner, the camera lowers and gives you a view of behind. This is the corner view. In the corner view, press the left step button or the right step button to stick yourself out from a protected area and look over your shoulder. Move the right stick with the corner view on to shift the camera in that direction. If you have a gun equipped during the corner view, press the weapon button to jump out and take a jump-out shot. By equipping grenades and pressing the weapon button in corner view mode, you can throw a grenade while hiding behind a barrier. You did an excellent halo jump.
Not really. I didn't land in the right spot. A jumper who lost his pack on the first real halo jump. That'll make a good story for you.
Who cares? There are no records of your operations.
I know, but...
What, you're embarrassed?
No, I'm not embarrassed.
It's the boss, isn't it?
What about the boss?
Nothing, paramedic.
Doesn't sound like nothing.
Nothing to do with the boss, I mean.
It has something to do with the boss, but you don't want to say so.
Yeah, kinda.
I understand, Snake.
The boss has done a lot of work on the military study of halo jumps. And Snake here wanted to give a perfect performance on the first real jump, you know, to show respect to the mother of the technique.
Major!
Snake, I thought you were over and out.
Wow, is that right?
You got something to say.
No,
I bet you do.
not really. I just think it's kind of sweet of you to think like that.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult.
It's a compliment, Snake. So tell me, is it true?
What?
Not that. Is it true that the boss really worked on research for halo jumps?
Oh, that.
Yes, it's true. Halo stands for High Altitude Low Opening. It's a jump technique developed for covert insertions into enemy territory, just like the area you're in. A plane flies at 10,000 feet or above to avoid detection by ground forces, and the jumper free falls until he's within 1,000-foot altitude above the target area, when he finally opens his chute. By using this technique, the chances of revealing the parachute landing to the enemy are marginal. The halo technique was originally developed in France. This was partly due to popularity of parachuting as a sport since the end of World War II. And the boss was an instructor for the research that was carried out there. In 1957, at the JFK Special Operations Center at Fort Bragg, the boss was invited to instruct at the first ever US military halo school. Of course, none of this is on the record, but she's the mother of modern-day special forces. Press the action button when you're on top of a branch or in front of a railing to hang down from that spot. While hanging, use the left stick, left step button, and right step button to move left and right. You can't keep hanging forever. If there's something to grab onto during a fall, press the action button when you pass in front of it. Press the crawl button while hanging to drop straight down. Press the If you approach it, you can climb up onto Snake. Press the C key. Snake, when you press the assault rifle, the distance that you throw grenade when you creep inside a small Snake, did you notice that when you knock an enemy each time you if there's something to
You okay?
Those men were from the Ocelot unit.
Spetsnaz?
Yes. The best crew has to offer. They're coming for me. I'm finished!
Calm down. I'll get you out of here, I promise. And we've got some of the best backup we could ask for.
Look.
That's what they were making you build?
Yes. The Shagohod. The treading behemoth. A tank capable of launching nuclear IRBMs.
It can launch nuclear missiles from that kind of terrain?
Oh, yes. And without support from friendly units.
A nuclear-equipped tank capable of operating solo. Is that thing finished?
No. This is only the end of Phase 1. It won't be truly finished until we complete Phase 2.
Phase 2?
The weapon's true form. If it is completed and the Colonel gets his hands on it, it will mean the end of the Cold War.
The end of the Cold War?
Yes. And then the Age of Fear will truly begin.
A world war.
I had no choice but to cooperate. I didn't want to die. I wanted to see my wife and child again in America. Please, take me to America, quickly. They cannot complete it without my help.
Got it. Let's go.
Good work, Jack.
What are you doing here?
Sokolov comes with me.
Hornets?
My friends, let us fight together again.
I have waited long for this day.
We will fight with you once more. Welcome back, boss.
Now that all 5 of us are together, it's time we go to the depths of hell itself. It's raining blood. Is he crying?
Kuwabara, Kuwabara. Ah, what a joyful scene.
Colonel Volgin.
Welcome to my country. And to my unit.
Boss, what is this?
I'm defecting to the Soviet Union. Sokolov is a little gift from my new hosts.
Recoilless nuclear warheads. These will make a fine gift for me.
This can't be happening.
Who is he? Another one of your disciples? Are we taking him with us?
No, this one is still just a child. Too pure for us Cobras. He has not yet found an emotion to carry into battle.
What are you talking about?
Think you can pull the trigger?
He's seen my face. We can't let him live. If Khrushchev finds out about this, we're finished. He must die.
Wait. He's my apprentice. I'll take care of him. Jack, you can't come with us.
been rejected. Are we done here?
Now, on to Sokolov's research facility.
Shagohod is ours.
Drift away. My place is with them now.
Snake, can you hear me?
Yeah. Just barely.
Snake, listen to me. You need emergency medical treatment. Can you move? You've got to get those wounds treated. Hang in there. All right, let's get you fixed up. Paramedic?
Okay, Snake. Just relax and it'll all be over before you know it. Stay with me. I've seen people in worse shape before. Think you can handle it?
Major. The boss. She's defected.
We'll talk about that later. First, we've got to get you patched up.
Okay, here we go. First, open the survival viewer with the start button. If you select cure, you can start the treatment. Healing is divided into treatment using medicine with the item window button and surgical treatment using the weapon window button. Your injuries include a fractured left elbow and rib bone, and lacerations on your upper arms, right elbow, and abdomen. They need to be fixed using surgical treatment. Move the healing cursor with the left stick to the affected part of your body. Once you've selected the affected area, hold the weapon window button and use the left stick to select the medical item, and then press the enter button. With this method, you can use items to help your recovery process. To treat a bone fracture, first secure the affected area with a fastener and then wrap it in bandages. That should do it. For lacerations, you'll need disinfectant to clean the wound, sutures to stitch it up, styptic to slow the flow of blood, and bandages to wrap the wound. If you do everything I mentioned, the wound should heal completely. Understood?
Yeah.
Stay with me. Go into the survival viewer and treat those wounds. Good job, Snake.
We're coming to get you now. Just stay where you are. We'll drop a recovery balloon. Can you set it up?
Shagohod.
Excellent. A great success. Thanks to the boss and her cobras, I have both Sokolov and the Shagohod.
What are we going to do with the girl?
Who is she?
Apparently she's Sokolov's woman.
She's a nice catch. I'll take her. Not so fast, my dear. A kiss of death?
Are you KGB?
We may be able to use her. She has spunk.
Shall we take her back to the base?
Perhaps we should. We have no further use for Sokolov's research facility. I think it's time I gave this marvelous new toy a try.
Colonel, even if they are our enemies, they're still our countrymen.
But it won't be me that pulled the trigger. It'll be our friend, the American defector.
You're going to nuke your fellow Russians?
Remember the Alamo.
Colonel!